Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the BJ Show. Well, welcome back, Ada. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me on again.
On the Sports Chat. So, on this tip of the episode, we'll continue on the 2024-26 season, and we've got round 13 and 14. So, let's get straight into it as we begin. Round 13, under lights, Thursday night footy, and it's almost one of the maybe the last Thursday night football. So, let's get to Adelaide Oval between Richmond and Crows and the Tigers. We're in Adelaide Oval, cool, nice. It is a very special round. It is the King's birthday round, and it's also a very good course. So, Aiden, I'm going to let you share the Crows and the Tigers.
Yeah, I can't believe how this game went. I honestly can't. I thought Adelaide would pick it up because their season was on the line. They knew their season was on the line. They came into this season saying, so you've got to back that up. And you come out on a Thursday night, you get a bad start, and you can't follow through. So clearly, something big is going on there. You didn't just miss out on finals last year, because if that was the case, you'd be there backing it up this year. But you're not. You know, Richmond this year is a go-get-em game. You can't just let them walk into town. But credit to the young Tigers. They rested Martin knowing that it was his 300th the week after, and they still put out the performance needed to win the game of football. And I say this every week. Between March and August, all you have to do is qualify in the top 8. Now, Richmond's not a top 8 side. We understand. But they're doing what they can to make sure that they stay in a position that's not last. Because I don't think they're as bad as they are, and they certainly definitely are not as bad as they are. So to Richmond, the great work there at Adelaide Oval has been sitting next to me pouting over the Crows' loss. There's not much that can be done for the Crows. I think that it's pretty much season over now, and look to build to next year.
I went to this game of my thoughts of Adelaide and Richmond. Now, what can I say? I went with a friend, and on the hill, knowing that, yes, we don't have Isaac Rakin. No, we don't have Tyler Walker. But you can't let walk into a part of a game of Aussie rules football and we need to respond. Okay, you're first or last, or you're 10th or last. The team plays smart, wins the game of football, and unfortunately, Richmond won it. They want it more. They play smart football. They play team football. Their skills were up top, even just say top 8. They were back. No Darcy Martin playing his 300 at the MCG big crowd against Hawthorn. And best of luck. We'll share that game in the next round later in the show. But getting back to this Crows Tigers game now. Okay, we did struggle with ball skills. You can't just, we go back to basics, but can you improve those basics on AFL solid level? You got to know when to switch on. Switch on when you enter the change room, get ready, get out and show the Crows fans we had 37,000 good conditions for football, and we still couldn't do it. So Adelaide, you need to keep building confidence. Go next round, the take on in round 14, and let's go reset. But with credit to Richmond, that third quarter totally control. You want it more, like I mentioned before. Adelaide heads up, play well next week.
We now go to Friday night footy at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne for the Doggies and the Lions.
Friday night, we made it. We landed in Melbourne. Marvel Stadium, a home for the Western Bulldogs. They are hosting Brisbane. Now, what can I say about Brisbane not having those bad weeks? And they needed to respond, and they did. So looking into the info about this game, like very even at quarter time, 4 goals apiece, then 6 goals to Lions, Bulldogs, that 1 goal, poor quarter from the Bulldogs. Can they do better? 3 goals apart, that was a bit better. That was the final quarter. Brisbane want more, and they're back to their form we like to see. But we look at some of those. Hipwood from Brisbane's key forward, 6 goals. Best performance on the road. It's very not easy. But then we have Tim English with 6 tackles for a big ruckman. Awesome work. 140 fancy from Hipwood, the key forward from Brisbane. Kingo, 6 goals as well. 38 disposals from Lockie Neal. So well done on Brisbane with that win. But Western Bulldogs, heads up. There's more games to play to hit into that. You're close to making that top 8. Good luck, Aiden. Over to you.
Alright, so this was a really interesting game. Now, I thought, Bulldogs have had some really good weeks of footy, so they'll come in hot, and Brisbane have been struggling a little. Actually, Brisbane, who were the team who come out on top, not just in the final score, but just across all the stats, it was all Brisbane. Because they're still, I believe, they're still a finals team. I still believe they're a team who should be making the prelim finals at the minimum. Maybe they won't make a grand final this year just because of moves at other clubs, but they're definitely still in the mix. This game showed that. For the Doggies, this was a reality check for them. This was a team that came in and thought, we can do this because we're on a roll right now, and paid no attention to the opposition. You can't go around letting Lockie Neal get 38 and letting Hipwood get 6 and think he's still in the contest, because you're never going to be in the contest. Anytime Lockie Neal gets over 35 touches, you need to be on alert for it. Play a tagger, do something, move the cards around, get your defence set as well, because you can't just let... This is Hipwood's first 6 in the AFL. Played 164 games and this is his first 6. That's unbelievable to me. It really is. But you can't just let teams walk all over you because you think you're in a better position than they are. These nights will happen, and they do happen. So for Western Bulldogs, go away, recover, think about what you're going to do next week. You've got the Dockers down in Melbourne, and that's your opportunity to get one back.
Let's pack our bags. We're now heading from Melbourne Marble Stadium. We're now going down to Tasmania to Launceston for Hawthorn versus GWS.
Alright, so Hawthorn and GWS from Tasmania. This was another interesting game. It really was. Hawthorn have been the team to watch over the last 2 months of football. Their transition from maybe the hanging around Richmond to look out, these guys might get into September, has come like that. I didn't think it was going to happen. And I didn't expect it to happen this year. I thought maybe it would happen 2025. But the role they've been on has been unprecedented. And you can't count them out. You can never count them out, and you can never say, oh, it's only Hawthorn anymore. Winning by a goal is still a win for the Hawks. This is a team now who I think believe they can play finals. I think they know that they're that good. I think Hawthorn are genuine. And another week, another win for the Hawks. Now on to GWS. Now, I know they had a few players unavailable for this game, and they were in Tasmania. So I think that's actually a pretty good effort for GWS. Tasmania is a Hawthorn stronghold. I know they share it with North Melbourne, but let's be honest. Only one team rules Tasmania, and that's Hawthorn. So GWS are, they should be upset that they lost, definitely, but they should also be pretty happy with the effort that they put in, knowing that they were in Tasmania and had some key players unavailable.
Now, BJ's thoughts for Hawks Giants. Now, it's cold in Tasmania, Launceston. I've been there for great, lovely city. Got to say, October's different to this time of year. You go to down in Launceston, Hawthorn, a very different team than last season 2023. I got to say, Sam Mitchum is done great against a team like a top 8 team like GWS, and you control them. Look at about quarter by quarter, slow start for Hawthorn. They've done that for so long, but they found a way, third quarter, they'll allow them at least, 4 goals, 5 goals. So 30 points down at half time to lead by 3 points at 3 quarter time, then come home with 7 points. You want it more and you hold on more. And this is one of my back upsets of the round that come with GWS. You start well and then you drop down. So, yes, you did win that last quarter, but not enough. 6 points. I apologise for it wasn't 7 points. But anyway, yeah, it was not the greatest. We look at, Jet Johnson, come to a 250th zone, or maybe just being. Yeah, like we had Luke Bruce, these guys may not, kick goals. Lockie Wakefield, my goodness, 30 disposals, and then you come to the goal stats with Donald, 2 goals. So it was a great day for Hawthorn. They continued to momentum the first good team. Now, when it comes to, say, Collingwood, they against a team share very soon against a 300 game Tiger, that was, let's just go and do your job. But well done on Hawthorn. Well done. Good luck and efforts. Good efforts to GWS. Play well. Continue well. Now let's go a little bit of cut through. So let's go from Melbourne. Now we're going to Perth. So let's get on the plane to Western Australia, off the stadium, to West Coast host in North Melbourne.
What a surprise we have in store for you right now. The North Melbourne Kangaroos have gone down to West Australia, a stronghold for the Dockers and the Eagles, and pulled off another upset in the West, taking out the Eagles by 9 points. And I thought North Melbourne were going to win a game all year. I genuinely believe that North Melbourne will not win a game all year. And rightly so. I thought, don't win a game all year, get an assistance pack. But all of a sudden, you come out, you beat West Coast. I know they don't have Harley Reid, but you still beat West Coast in West Australia. Any team that goes to West Australia and knocks off a West Australian team, that's a big deal. For the Eagles, this is a game you should have taken and absolutely knocked off the Kangaroos. Harley Reid or no Harley Reid, it doesn't matter. You are far, far better side than North Melbourne, and you just let it split at the end there. So, North Melbourne, first win of the year. Congratulations to them. West Coast, I think this was a game you should have picked up.
Now, no one saw this coming. Now, before I do anything, congratulations to North Melbourne. It's a coming hard, long travel from Melbourne to Western Australia, and you know how West Coast have been good, some good form. But you go and take on West Coast in the more rebuilding. You responded and you came out on top early. Now, look at by quarter, as they normally say, back against back football. Now, look at that, 11-8 to North Melbourne to 8-17 West Coast. Now, West Coast kick a bit better. I gotta say, they'll be a lot better. But the first quarter, West Coast did start well. They're starting to get some momentum, They keep 2 goals for the whole half. Now, that's not great. North Melbourne, 4 goals, won that quarter. Second half, coming into 2 goals to 0. Now, West Coast 6 behind. What's happening was that? Then it came to the last quarter. West Coast kicked 6 goals, 2. So that's a bit better. So, but North Melbourne was better on the day. Winning goal moment, they have to enjoy it. And surely they did. And, good effort to West Coast, but you got to keep better. You can't just, we got this win, we'll keep points and wins the game. No, it doesn't. So, bounce back, West Coast, well done. Enjoy the win, North Melbourne. Now, it's time to jump back on the plane, and we're travelling back to Melbourne a long distance. And we got St Kilda hosting Gold Coast. Well, we're now back and landed safely in Melbourne. We've got St Kilda hosting Gold Coast. Now, what can I say about this team? Now, Gold Coast have improved, but they struggle on the road. And they've done it since, even with doesn't matter who's your coach. You need to wake up Gold Coast. One thing about being a good team, yes, look at Damien Hardwick. He's a big boner. He really put you guys. You lost by 3 points. That's the lowest loss. But St Kilda, you're much better than St Kilda. Anyway, let's just share a little bit of those those player stacks, the players stand out for Gold Coast. Most anything else on a losing point, it's Sam Landers. 160 fancy, 42 disposals, 13 marks, 2 tackles. Now, how at anyone individual, more likely, including Alex Sexton, 130 fancy, 29 disposals, 16 marks, 1 tackle. So the marking contest won from Gold Coast from 2 individual midfields. And that's a team effort. We'll just quickly do the goals. So, Ben King dominate 2 goals. So that's okay. We're St Kilda, mate. Okay, the win's a win for you guys, but you can't. Yes, okay, Jack Sinclair, 117 fancy. Now that goal, instead of that point, should be a winning goal for St Kilda. You got 31 disposals, 7 marks, double the difference from an individual 2 tackles. So I gotta say, I know it's not just about, and then Dan Butler, 3 goals for St Kilda. So good effort to Gold Coast. You never gave up. You need to do better, but well effort to St Kilda. Well done, Gold Coast, for that win.
Alright, yeah, so I don't know what really can be said about this game. I just had a look through the stats, and the stats are actually pretty even. I think in terms of total possession, it's, disposals, kicks, handballs, all Gold Coast. Inside 50, St Kilda. Efficiency, clearly Gold Coast. Goal accuracy, slightly Gold Coast, still not great. 33.9 for the Saints, 35.6 for the Sun. Freeze 4, going to Gold Coast. Hitouts, going to Gold Coast, but this is where things change. Total clearances, St Kilda. Centre clearances, St Kilda. Stoppage clearances, St Kilda. So you've got a team who's winning the game with the ball against a team who's winning the game at the contest. And this is why we have such... It was low scoring, but it was not... Apart from St Kilda's big push at the start, from the time Gold Coast came back, they kept it close. And this is what we want. Hopefully the scoring can improve. We don't want to see 51-48s every week. Hopefully we can get, some good high-scoring close games. Because both of these sides can play football. Gold Coast, unfortunately, can only play football, in the Gold Coast. And St Kilda can only play football when they drag their opponent through the mud and don't let them score. So these teams can both play football in their own scenario. Very good, but not good enough to be top 8 sides. You need to be able to play football away, and you need to be able to play football when the team's kicking high on you. Either way, it's a big win for the Saints, and it keeps them around them, well, not even around the mark. It keeps them with an outside chance of sneaking in somehow, even though they're miles away. It was only their 4th win for the year. So they more should be looking at their draft picks and their trade options at this point. These are the games for Gold Coast you have to win to play in September.
We now head from Marvel Stadium to the SCG for the Swans and the Cats. Now, this game, the Swans hosting the Cats. Now, Sydney Ains, maybe the best performance in a long time. A long time in big ways. And, we are Geelong. Those know me quite well. I like to call them Sexy Geelong Cats. So, moving forward, Geelong, the Sexy Geelong Cats, started well. They went to sleep. They weren't focused, and they didn't have enough goals to kick 12 goals and lose by 5 goals. 30 points. So you're up by 32 at to 3 behind at quarter time to lose by 30 points. More accuracy from Geelong, but we look it down just briefly. Alan Goodwin, 151 fancy, 37 disposals. Again, that Alan Goodwin took control with that. Paul Pugley, 4 goals. And James Rowan, 10 tackles. So Sydney put in match leaders on my screen on the AFL app. Totally dominated. And you're going to give them credit. Well, we'll come into Geelong. Say Tyson Stingle hit 3 goals, made Geelong's best for a forward quarter. For the fancy, not only 5 fancy from Max Holmes, just the goal, 6 months, 3 tackles, 11 to 23 disposals. So it wasn't Geelong's day, but Sydney just knew how good they planned really well. They knew how good Geelong can be at the moment. They just Sydney wanted more, and they know how good, and they are clearly the favourite team going for the Premiership. So that's my fault.
Yeah, the Premiers Elect have done it again. They have found a way to win, and I'm going to call them the Premiers Elect from now on when I'm talking about the Swans, because this is their Premiership to lose. They have this Premiership on lock. They just need to avoid injuries and keep going. To be able to come back against a side like Geelong's not even like a bad side. They're a very good side. Come back from 6 goal down and flip it 5 goals in your advantage is absolutely incredible. This is the stuff that Premierships are made of. In 20 years from now, when teams look back on this season and we see this Sydney Swan side, this could be one of the greatest Swan sides in the history of the Sydney Swans, and they've had a lot of great sides. For all the Cats, you just can't let these games slip. You definitely still got the players. You definitely still got the potential. I think age has caught up to these old Cats, and the new boys aren't coming through as much as they wanted. I mean, they still have, guys like Max Holmes, guys like Bradley Close coming through, but it's still guys like Dangerfield and Hawkins and Cameron and Stengel leading the charge for them. So those guys are eventually not technically fall away, but the physical skills are going to fall away. The speed, the reactions, the strength are going to come into question. And you're going to have to get these young guys into a position to take over if you want to stay competitive going into the late 2020s and into the 2030s. So this is a real challenge for Geelong to sit back and say, maybe the next couple of years, let's, accumulate some draft picks and use some draft picks and collect some good young players and let them move into the squad as these old guys are coming out, so you can be ready for that next big push in 6 or 7 years from now.
Now we're back on the plane from Sydney. We're heading back for Sunday night football between at the MCG, Bombers and the Blues.
Essendon and Carlton. Now, this is actually quite an interesting game because you've got two teams who are contending for the top 4, and really one team should be there and one team shouldn't. Essendon gave it a right go and have come out and given themselves, they still lost by 4 goals, but they know where they have to be to go against the top sides of the league. Maybe they had a bad night, maybe they didn't. I don't know. Maybe Essendon's limit is the second half or the lower half of the top 8, but that's what we'll find out about in the second half of the year. For the Blues, this is the absolute right game that they needed. They kicked 15-6 and were in control of that game pretty much from start to finish. Slowly building a lead over time and then calling up the Dogs and letting the Bombers back in, which is not always great, but they were up by about 5 or 6 goals at one stage, so it's acceptable. Elijah Holland's leading the goal scorers with 3, so interesting to see not Charlie Curnow or Harry McKay up there. And the highest disposal getter in this game was Nick Martin with 26, so very rare in the AFL these days that we have a high disposal getter of someone under 30. What can I say about the Blues? These guys, I think, should be playing in at least a prelim, if not a grand final. Hopefully we have a Carlton Collingwood prelim. That's what I really hope, because it should be Sydney and then either Carlton or Collingwood.
Sunday night football. Bombers, there's the Blues. Big sold out for this game. And what can I say? I have mentioned before, bad kicking is bad football from the Eagles and North Melbourne game. Well, this was a top 4 spot secured at this point of the season. We'll share with the Essendon Bombers, still good, but like I had mentioned, Nick Martin, 26 disposals, a lead disposal. Even in a losing team, it doesn't matter. Play well for your team. 2 goals, 120 fancy, hit those 8 marks, 4 tackles, mix it up a little bit. But for Carlton's point of view, your lead's disposal was Tom Ding, 19 hit-outs, 94 fancy, 24 disposals, and 5 marks. So, it was a must-win for the Bombers. They continued to play well because this is the best performance under Brad Scott, and Essendon need a coach which give this. Brad Scott's worked out when the key forwards from Essendon play well, Essendon play well. When they're not in good performance, they do not perform well. And unfortunately, credit to Carlton, got the job done. They know how good they play on the big ground. Carlton Blues fans absolutely love how they're playing, from their, as I mentioned it before, Charlie Cruz now, he's absolutely dominating 2 goals. Doesn't matter him, and those 5 marks. Those are big moments. So, like I've mentioned before, well done to Carlton with the win. Essendon, heads up, good effort. Let's get to the the final game of round 13, King's Birthday Clash.
And here we are, finally on the King's Birthday Monday, a public holiday where Australia celebrates the King on a day that's not actually even his birthday. But because we're a lazy, arrogant country, we go, you know what, we haven't had a day off in a long time. Let's have one and we'll celebrate our Royal Highness King Charles III by giving him some football to watch that we know he's not going to watch between Collingwood and the Melbourne Football Club from the MCG. So this was an absolute back and forth game in the early stages. You know, Collingwood were a couple of goals in front at quarter time. There's only 3 goals, 1 at quarter time to the Pies, to no goals for the D's, but they kept themselves in the game. And then sort of towards the end of the first quarter, Melbourne superstar Christian Petracca copped a knock to the body that sent him out. Well, he played the second quarter for some reason. I don't know why, but he did. And then he had to be subbed out at half time. But at that point, Collingwood kicked out 7-3 to 2-6 against the Demons. We come back after the second half and Collingwood turn on the Jets. No Petracca means no Melbourne. We all know how it goes. Collingwood 4 goals straight in the third to go to 11-3 to Melbourne's 2-5. And in the final term, Collingwood get 3-2 to Melbourne's 2-4. So with a final score of Collingwood 14-5-89 and Melbourne 15-51. A poor kicking performance from the Demons. But all in all, they knew they were probably out of the contest with or without Petracca. It definitely helped if Petracca was on the ground in the second half. But he was no good and he was shipped off to hospital at half time, and that's when Collingwood took away. I don't know how Melbourne's going to go in the second half of the season. Petracca said that his season's definitely done, and Melbourne without Petracca don't have that X factor in the midfield, and that's where they're going to hurt in the second half of the year. Melbourne currently are actually sitting outside the 8, 11th place, 13 played in 28 with 100.1%, but you know, without Petracca, I don't know where Melbourne's going to find that spot to get into the grand final. And I've been saying this all year, haven't I? Melbourne are getting further and further away from another grand final, whether through fault of their own or not. It's just they're going to be waiting another 60 years for their third premiership, I reckon. But Collingwood, Magpies, the reigning premiers, do what they have to do. Go in, do business, get the win. Ben, over to you.
Well, the last game, the King's Birthday. Well, what a clash. And this was not just the King's Birthday, it was also the Ice Buff Slide. Great course. You know, SA of doing it. I went to that game, like I'm going to share it now. Very different compared to Adelaide, the versus Richmond game. That all they did, they had the top 5 celebrities, which it's basically a shower, and they press a button, and the other ones slip slide into an actual ice bath. It's the proper way, you know, big crowd, 80 to 90,000. Collingwood hosting Melbourne, and like I said, let's get into that stats. Now, Melbourne a bit better, but not great. You know, Collingwood, you know, so good so far. 3 goals to zip, 4 goals to 2, a bit better. Half time, you know, not great, but they were by. Still not enough. Very similar margin since the second quarter. Third quarter, 4 goals straight. Accuracy, it's best football for a good team. Does well, and then 3 goals again. So after the in the second half, it was 3 goals and 3 goals. But with Melbourne, you know, 2 goals. They kicked 2 goals on accuracy, but the final quarter they lost 4 goals, 9. So they really got out of themselves of winning this game. But well effort, Melbourne. Good win. Continue well. 10-2 nets around. So I'm just going to share a bit of a stat to stat. Josh Dacos, 34 disposals, and Patrick Linton with a 7 tackle performance, and with Matt Scorn with that 148 banty in a team that he had to step out as captain. You know, as Ada mentioned, Christian Petracca, you know, stopped that second half. You can't rely on that one player in that midfield. It's fielding that mid player and do the job. Replace that player and do that job well. But it's game of football. It's part of the game. But, well, that's round 13. We're now heading to a break. So don't go anywhere. Get your bickies, get your cup of tea, your hot drink, your cold drink, and come back. We've got more to come. Let's get excited. The team have the buys. Fremantle and Port Adelaide. I hope you're all enjoying your break and enjoy your second half. Continue well. We'll be right back. Don't forget, you get your bickies and your drink. We'll be back after this. welcome back to the Sports Chat. Hope you enjoy it. And round 13 is now complete. Let's get into the second round as we share this in this episode. Round 14. And the first game is Brisbane and St Kilda as we now travel to Brisbane, gather for Friday night footy.
Friday night footy, round 14, the Lions and the Saints. This was it was a one-way traffic for most of this game, with Brisbane dominant in the first half. First half ended, Brisbane 10-5, St Kilda 6-6. Second half, St Kilda pulled it back though very, very well. St Kilda kicked, I can't believe I'm saying this, St Kilda kicked 7 in a quarter of football. Considering that they only kicked 8 the week before, I think that's pretty good. For the Lions, again, the usual suspects popping up. Joe Dano had 5 goals. Hugh McCluggage, 132 fantasy. And the Saints, again, just either a hot start and a cold finish, or a cold start and a hot finish. They're not able to just put the 4 quarters together at the moment, and this is what's hurting. If you were able to put together the first half they had in round 13 against Gold Coast, and the second half they had this round against Brisbane, they'd be a very, very dangerous side. So I just think they just need to be able to put the 2 halves together and they'll be okay. I mean, obviously they don't have as much talent as the rest of the competition at the moment, but that's something that I think all clubs have to work with at some stage, and it's St Kilda's turn to be lacking on high-end talent. Overall though, I mean, both teams played a very, very good game, and even in the loss I'm very happy with St Kilda, but Chockies go to Brisbane this week.
High-scoring football. We're back to that high-scoring football. We are in Brisbane, we're at the gather with Friday night footy. Can Brisbane respond? They did. They are game improving. They want to play finals again, but have they got enough to continue for the rest of the second half of the year? So we look at like Ada mentioned before, Brisbane started well, 10 goals to 6, it was anyone's game. St Kilda dominated. They kicked 10 goals for basically what Brisbane scored in one half of game of football, and that's exactly what they did. Was Brisbane's point of view. Overall, St Kilda actually won that second half by goals. Very nice and accuracy, but it was overall 9 goals 7. 9 goals 7, 61 to 10 for 64. St Kilda won that second half because they never gave up. Ross Lyon really got basically a message at quarter time. You can't start slow against a good team. Brisbane woke up in the second half. St Kilda coming. And this was maybe the best game for St Kilda. They are a high scoring game, but look at the player by player. It's nice and quick. Joe Donoghue, 5 goals, 131 fantasy, as I mentioned. 12 marks. We come to maybe St Kilda's best in respect for, 32 disposals to Jet Sinclair. That's pretty good performance. You know how good. And Jack Higgins as well, 5 goals. So pretty even on the goals list. You never seen 2 teams individual kick 5 goals for 1. But unfortunately, Joe Donoghue was slightly better with 6 more disposals. Double in the mark, insane in tackles, but also double in fantasy. So, but well done to Brisbane. Got the chocolates, got kick off the win. Beautiful. St Kilda heads up, play well next week. Now, let's get back on the plane from Brisbane to Melbourne at Marble Stadium. For now, we're into Saturday afternoon football. Well, we come to game 2 of the second split round. Bulldogs hosting Fremantle. Quarter. Good start to both teams, but Bulldogs led the way by 4. Then it was their second quarter took away from Fremantle. 4 goals to 1. Second half, making nice and 6 goals to 4. Bit better from Fremantle, but it was a matter of 3 goals in the final quarter, but 3 goals 5. So, what can I say about this one? I don't know how the hell, but I tipped Fremantle. It caused me that they beat Melbourne them by like that 15-goal win. You know, I don't know. Was it made to have injuries? I don't know. But the Western Bulldogs, it's another wake-up call, and it was a big win. You know, take on Fremantle. Cameron's got some skills. They're right behind that top 8, and, you know, by anything but percent, it's 2 points between Fremantle and Bulldogs. It's like a knockout final for the, you know, for Bulldogs, but well effort from Fremantle, good effort from the Bulldogs, you know who dominate well, so many. But yeah, Aiden, I'll let you share your.
This game was an absolute doggy domination of the Dockers. That's actually some really good English skills I put up there. Talking about English, let's have a look at Tim English's stat line. 6 tackles for Tim English. Let's have a look at his stats in the player database. To English, 124 AFL fantasy, 2 goals, 14 touches, 24 hit out. That is what you want from a modern day ruckman, getting around the ground and helping out where needed. And it helps the Dogs. Then they've got a lot of great players there. They've got Bontempelli, who's firing at the moment. Riley Rest is firing at the moment. Rory Lobb had a good game. Whoever thought Rory Lobb could play a good game of football? Either way, the Doggies did what they had to do business, keep themselves in the hunt. The Dockers. Now, I actually tipped the Doggies because I know the Dockers play horribly after a bye, and they do it again. So, point to the player. Really out of the contest from the first quarter, out of the game, and just looking lost, and just, I don't know how they're going to find their way back into the top. Well, they're still in the top 8, but they're still going to get into September, and that's the big question for the Dockers right now. Can they finish off this season and get into September? Hopefully they do. I don't know if they can, but it'd be good to have a West Australian team playing in the final series for the first time in a long time. It's time to salute an absolute legend of our game. Not just one of the greats of his generation, but one of the greats of all time. It's a 300-game milestone for Richmond's Dustin Martin as we take a cab down to the MCG as the Tigers take on the Hawks. Dusty kicked the first of the match, and the scenes were special. 300th game and first goal in the game. I mean, that's where the fun stopped for Richmond though. After that, it was all Hawthorn, who have been against another week, another win for the Hawks. Marbior Chol, 4 goals. James Sicily, 137 fantasy. So, for Richmond, it's curtains. It's season over for them. Well done on Dusty's 300, but it's time you guys start looking at next year. You've only got 2 on the board so far, and that's pretty much all she wrote for you guys. For the Hawks, it's still very much game on. This last 2 months of football have put you guys right in contention. You're on 28 points and a win outside the top 8. So let's see what you do in the second half. Ben, over to you.
Welcome to the MCG for the Tigers hosting or versing the Hawks. Big crowd, but this is the reason why. Dustin Martin, what an actually amazing player. A journey he has come. You know, now he knows what they called a apprenticeship team, apprenticeship player, a rebuilding Richmond. He knows when it was time to come back, celebrate the big career he has become. One of the greatest, don't argue players I've ever seen in a apprenticeship Richmond outfit. And it's going to be a long journey back playing good football. But getting into it, like Aidan mentioned, first goal to the Tigers. Unfortunately, I did not able to watch this game. But quarter by quarter, Hawthorn, took away the quarter time to the Tigers. Keep them in the game. But it wasn't enough. It was the second half, 5 goals to 1 and another goal to 2 goals. So it was basically Richmond could keep themselves out of the game. But it was a well effort to the Hawks, to the Tigers. The season's not is over, but you got to keep fighting, keep playing football against. You got a good test next week at the MCG, get the Blues. So Hawthorn keep winning. You won't play finals. You kind of well done, got the win. Even with Darcy Martin's 300, it's still money going football. So well done on the effort. Big winners, celebrate that moment, and you did. So well done to Hawthorn, well done to Richmond. We're now back into Adelaide. We're back on the plane, and that's where the Adelaide Oval versus the Crows and the Swans. Let's get into my thoughts as Vic say. Well, what an absolutely strange start to Adelaide. They came out absolute on fire. And what can I say about Adelaide boys? Yes, your season's done, but finish the game strong. You know how good Sydney can be. And kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. You you got beaten. But yeah, good start. 7 goals up at half time. You went to sleep, but you didn't let them kick. Yes, you kicked 6 goals. You did that against Richmond. You're doing a game. You're down by 3 goals and you blew it, King 1 goal to 4. Sydney are a good team. Well done on their efforts. Well done, Sydney, on their win. And I'll share a little bit stat by stat. That's really quick, Now, I'll let Aiden share the Sydney player who actually did kick those 9 goals. But, Alan Goodham, 127 defensity, 235 disposals, 6 tackles and 3 marks. But it was, let's just say, Rory Ladd, complete dominator was Mitch Hinge. 30 plus disposals. That 127 Alan Goodham saying was that 130 fantasy. 6 marks, 6 tackles to Rory Ladd to Mitch Hinge was the 8 mark, 5 tackles. So LA, keep trying, bounce back. You got it. You want to win some more games for the rest of the season to show what we can play that 4 quarters of football. Go back to that. We missed that. But Sydney, credit, you're going to be a good team coming to September. Aiden, it's over to you.
Yeah, I honestly thought the Crows had this game. At quarter time, I thought, Crows were looking really solid. In the first quarter, even half of the second quarter, I thought, Crows are going to take this. And then it became the Joel Amartey show. 9 goals for the match on 10 disposals for 9-1 for the young man. The young fella who's never kicked a 5 before goes straight from a bunch of 4s to a 9. And then he gets dragged! There was 7 minutes to go in the game. He gets dragged and he doesn't have an opportunity to kick his 10th. The shame and the horror. Sydney doing what they do. Again, the Premier's elect coming in. A role player playing a key role in the big win this week. And that's what you want to see when you're at that level. And well, for any team, that's what you should be doing. So, for the Crows, again, you're going to be joining the list of teams till it's season over. But Premier's elect, find a way to win again.
Now, we got the last day of football. And now, we're back on the plane from Adelaide to Melbourne. Now we come to the last 2 games of round 14. Well, we got this as one of maybe the game of the round. Wow, Collingwood lucky to win this. And one word I like to say is effort. And that goes more to North Melbourne against the Premiers. North Melbourne slipped, and Aiden will explain about that point how they take off from Nick Dacos. But I'll have to share my thoughts of by quarter. So just make it basic from North Melbourne were leading by 6 goals. Then they did it again. Another 6 goals for that quarter. They were leading by 48 points. How did that slip? Now, for example, early in the season, the Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn. Hawthorn were leading by very similar margin and they lost by a point. This is a high-scoring game. And you credit to Collingwood winning this game. They'll find a way to win. That's what good team does. They plan. They smart it out. But it was the 6-goal quarter to more to Collingwood. They were plied. This was their second half. But both teams, more to credit to North Melbourne. They kicked very accuracy. They kicked 19 goals for to Collingwood 8-11. So if Collingwood kicked 8-11, North Melbourne will clearly win this. The biggest win under Alison Clarkson ever in the last 3-4 years. But credit to North Melbourne, I have mentioned before. I'd like to say that because 1 point, that's the biggest loss in ever this year. So well done. Collingwood got the win, got the 4 points. That's what matters. But North Melbourne, keep trying. Play well next week. Good luck for both teams. Aiden, let's hear your thoughts.
Alright, so North Melbourne versus Collingwood. Now, I completely disregarded this game, and I just, as you normally do, you're sitting at home on a Sunday arvo, you check the score on your phone, and I'm like, oh, it's half time, Collingwood's up 50 points. How wrong was I? I put my phone down and I look at it again, and I'm like, North Melbourne's meant to be the home team this week, huh? Yes, they are. North Melbourne were up by 50 points against Collingwood, and they probably should have won this game. They had Will Phillips tagging Nick Dacos for 3 quarters, and they had the game in the bank. Then 3-quarter time, Alistair Clarkson decides to take Nick Dacos' tag off. Will Phillips gets subbed off and lets Nick Dacos run riot in the final term, giving Collingwood the opportunity to get the win. And when you give Collingwood an opportunity to get a win, Collingwood Collingwood are going to go get a win. But this is absolutely heartbreaking for North Melbourne. They were talking this up all week, how good they were going to be against Collingwood. And they were. And then you make one mistake against any other team, you don't get punished. But Collingwood's going to punish you. But you see it now, North Melbourne. This is what I've been asking for all year from you guys. You put it together, but it wasn't you guys on the field who made the dumb moves. It was Alistair Clarkson in the box subbing off Will Phillips because he was a little bit tired. Well, he's got a job to do, and if he did his job for even another 10 minutes, I reckon North get away with this one.
We come to the last game. We got Giants losing power. Let's now get to the west of Sydney from Melbourne. The last game of round 14 for Aiden's and BJ's Force.
Thank you. So, GWS versus Port Adelaide. It's one of those things, you know. GWS had players back and they were playing in their natural environment of Western Sydney. Port, like Fremantle, struggle after a bye, so I kind of expected this result to happen. I mean, this is one of those games where I think you go in there expecting to do a little bit better, but at the same time, you're playing GWS in GWS after a bye, so all the numbers are going against you. So, to only lose by 22, I think that's pretty good. Although you could have done better. GWS 9-19-73 to Port Adelaide 6-15-51. I don't know what the weather was like in West Sydney on Sunday, Arvo, but it must have been horrible, or it was just horrible football. Ben, over to you.
Yep, we're now in the last game. Back against bad football, but both teams, we're seeing a lot of that in the last two rounds, and we made it. Port Adelaide so well. That's credit. 40 goals to zip, but it happened to the second quarter. GWS took control with 4 goals to fall behind. Then it happened. Both teams did score goals, but it was more to the Giants. Now, what they say, as I mentioned, backing bad football, and GWS got the backing in bad football. But Port Adelaide, poor last quarter, 1 goal 5. They cost the game. Was that to GWS? 2 goals 5. 1 goal apart. So credit to Port, off that bye. Yes, it wasn't really good. It was a challenge road trip to go down to Great Western, tag on the Giants. They knew how good, would be more fresher. But GWS got the 4 points, got the chocolates. Well done. Move on next week. Well, we have now gonna die. What a absolute beauty of those last 2 rounds, and they were 2 split rounds. Split round 1 more, 2 and 3. But I gotta say, there's 1 more to come. But the teams have the week off for round 14 as we just into this game. But Carlton, Essendon, Geelong, Melbourne, West Coast and Gold Coast. Enjoy your week off. Good luck for the second half. Now, let's end this. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy when we went to our break. You enjoy your cup of tea, your cider, your cold drink, whatever you like with your biscuits and your snacks. I hope you all enjoy this show as much as I have absolutely loved putting this on Sports Chat with Aiden. Thank you so much for being part of, and welcome back. Thank you so much for your thoughts from the last 13 and 14, from the last 2 and 3.
That's alright. I'm always here to, happy to put in my input, and great to be back.
No, well, we say this is Ben, known as BJ from the BJ Show Sports Chat, signing up. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next fortnight. Guys, peace out. Bye for now.